or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday to you. I hope that you've had a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host for today, Quabila Harden, along with Ms. Micah Simone.
Good morning, everyone.
And another guest host, Ms. Amanda Donovan.
Good morning.
All right, and so we also have two very special guests with us today, Minister Emil Williams from Magnolia Road Baptist Church and Mr. Attorney Nate Looney. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Friends and Neighbors Network, which is hosted out of Magnolia Road Baptist Church. But before we get into that, I would love Minister Williams to please give us some background on himself and how he got started in ministry and then leading up to the program.
Thank you very much. I've been doing this for, I counted up the years the other day, I've been doing this for 67 years, which is incredible.
That's amazing.
That's when as long as I've been in ministry. I was at First Baptist Church here in Jonesboro, which you may know, for,
yes, sir.
For 30 years, from 1965 to 95. Then when I retired, I went out to the church that we had started as a mission back in 1991 or so, and the Magnolia Road mission, and which became organized into a church, and the church sponsored it for several years and supplemented their income, and then it became an independent church in 1993 or 4.
Okay.
And so when I retired in 1995, I made myself available, and I've been there for 22 years, which is incredible.
That's amazing.
As a matter of fact, this next Sunday will be my anniversary Sunday. I came to Jonesboro 52 years ago this coming Sunday. And I've been at this church for 22 years.
22 years.
Well, which is incredible for a retirement. And we had right after I went out there, we started at the church, we started some special programs of ministry, and we named them different things. But we had things like an after-school child care program,
okay,
which was very popular, run by Alicia Stevens, which some of you may know. And we had an awfully good program, but we finally just ran out of money.
Okay.
And so about 10 years ago, we organized the Jonesboro Council on Ministries, which started out just to provide all the services that we could imagine that people would have. Okay. Health needs, rental subsidies, all kinds of things. And we found out we could not do that broad a thing, and we had to come back and narrow it down a little bit. And so about 3 years ago, we encountered my son and one of his associates, read the little book called Toxic Charity.
I've been told about that book. I've got to get it.
Well, it is really good, and it points out the fact that even though people who are in the so-called, I hate the word charity, in the helping business, the caring business, whatever you want to call it, sometimes fall into a trap, and they don't start out doing this, but it develops along the way, almost inevitably. The people who provide the help seem develop a sense of little superiority, the haves and the have-nots, and Lady Bountiful giving to the poor folks. And if we're not careful, it gets rather just exactly what the author calls it, toxic.
Toxic, yes, sir.
Toxic.
Can you teach one of my classes?
And so then we decided we'd try to do something better. We found out that an old guy in Atlanta, Georgia, Baptist preacher in a Baptist church there, started this program, and now it's a nationwide program.
That is wonderful.
Family and Neighborhood Network. And the whole idea is based on the idea that we do not, as the ones who are on the top shelf, give to those who are on the lower, and we just hand them stuff, and we never do get to know them as people. We just, they're kind of digits, ciphers, whatever. But the FANN program is an entirely different concept. You get to know the people as persons, and actually the people who receive help. And we're trying to find some other word other than caring and helping and charity if we could. And so we've tried to develop the term membership.
Membership.
And the people who receive help, they are members. And they come twice a month for the food distribution. It is located at the church, but now the church does not do it. This is a community service center, which meets there, but it's separate from the church. And so the food is paid for by the community service center, and Nate will have some things to say about that, I'm sure. We'll probably raise a little money along the way here.
Always trying to raise money, right? I mean,
Yes, sir.
But it's been going on for 2 years, fully 2 years now. And we have several people working as volunteers that I imagine need to be mentioned along the way. But we have 15 families. It kind of varies, but they meet every the second and fourth Tuesdays for the distribution. And they get to know each other as family. They get to know each other as, it's sort of like church. They sit around the tables and they hand out the food and they share their needs with each other and concerns, even have prayer requests and all the things that come pretty much like church. And I just kind of sit in the corner and watch it, and I'm the old guy in the corner. But it's been a really successful program. What we would like to do is to see this be a pattern for be a model.
Okay.
There's no reason why we cannot have these duplicated all over the area.
Yes, sir.
And they can make a difference in people's food needs. And Nate can tell you a little bit more about how many, the percentage of food needs that are met by what we do, and maybe a little bit how people become eligible to be a part of, to be members.
Okay.
There's an orientation time, and there's a little survey of how they qualify to be a part of the program.
Okay.
That's all I need to say.
We're going to have you say a lot more, Minister Williams, so don't go nowhere. All right, Mr. Nate.
Well, if it's okay, I want to take just a moment, a point of personal privilege. So I've known Dr. Williams for a long time. He was actually my childhood pastor, and whenever I moved back to Jonesboro in 2013, I went to his daughter's restaurant, the Edge Coffee House. I don't know if you guys have ever been there.
That plug.
One of my favorite spots.
He came as a guest.
Oh, that's his daughter.
Ann Williams, also, member at City Council. Great family. But anyways, I went in there and I saw Brother Emil in there, and we started visiting. We started talking about things that are happening in the state, and he said, Nate, there's a little organization that we have going on that we feel is doing some good work. We're looking at starting a new program, and I just want you to come out and take a look at it. And so I ended up coming out there and hearing about the model, and I think this is something that is truly special, and I appreciate Brother Emil getting me involved in this. It's been, and I think I speak for most of the board members, I think it's more rewarding for us than it is for anything else that's happening, just because I think this is one of those things that's truly getting at a need that's important. If you look at Arkansas right now as a snapshot, I mean, as far as food insecurity issues, we lead the nation in senior food insecurity. We have about 200,000 kids in poverty right now. And about 1 in 5 people live at or below the poverty line in Jonesboro. So you look around, and this is not something that's foreign to us. Most of our friends, if you know somebody, they're going to know somebody, their family, an acquaintance, somebody they work with. And so what this effort is trying to do is not just simply meet one of the tangible needs, get people more food. That's an important piece of it. But it's something much deeper than that, and that's what we've seen emerge. So we were the second one in the state. There was a group that launched in Little Rock, and they were pivotal in helping us get started. There's a national organization that's doing this around the country. One of our board members serves on that board now, and so we've had great support from that organization. But the model, the way that, and Brother Williams was explaining this earlier, it's really more about creating an environment where people can be people and they can get to know each other and they can have a support group. And so it meets twice a month. We talked about that. And this is not something, it truly is a membership program. These folks, they pay a little bit of a fee. It's $3 each meeting and then $5 to join. So it's a reasonable rate, and none of that, it's important to say, none of that goes to purchase any of the food. That's all raised privately, but that group gets to decide what they want to do with that money. And so it's they've acquired, I mean, it's almost over $1,000 now, and so they can bring in speakers. They hosted a community event for I guess it was last year. But it's just been remarkable, and you know what we've heard time and time again. For the first time, people have developed a group of friends and a support network, which is just as important as the food they're getting at each distribution.
So not only are they meeting their food needs, it's meeting their emotional and social needs too. That's a very big blessing in itself, because my grandmother, who is 70 years old, and she still gets up and runs a marathon every day like I do. But I hear her all the time. I love hanging out with you, but I'd like somebody my own age. You know, so you know that it brings people together. Sort of kind of like, you know, the Reverend was talking. It was sort of kind of like fellowship in church.
May I say just a word at this point?
Please.
The times I go out, I don't go every time, but most of the meetings I attend, and just they don't want observers.
Yes.
They don't like that. And we don't try to have people coming in as if they're spying on them and seeing how they're doing. But now they can sit in the corner and be quiet and visit with folks a little bit if they want to. But the thing that we've noticed is that these people, as they have become part of the organization and attended the meetings, they get to know each other. And the age range is pretty wide. We have some 80 or early, and then some single mothers that are much younger than that. So there are all kinds of people in this. I think one of the things we've learned as our scene has been obvious. We knew this all along. Most of the people who are part of this are people who are really trying, and they want to make it, and have some who are in nurses training and other things like this, and just having a pretty tough time. But this meets a real need in their lives. But the main thing we've noticed is they get to know each other as persons.
Okay.
And they, across the age difference, the younger ones and the older ones communicate with each other, and that's a wonderful thing. And share their needs and express concerns. And it is sort of like church, even though we do not give that label to it.
Okay. Alrighty.
It includes what I just heard you say was it improves the quality of their lives.
Yes,
and for the staggering of that age, they also are able to inspire and teach each other.
And learn from one another.
Right, even without that guidance.
That's wonderful.
Well, and it is never, we are not in charge of it and telling them how to do it. It's free range. They get to know each other, and they're undirected, and there's no sense of those who are in on the know and those who are learning and that kind of thing. They're completely equal with us in every sense, and we want that spirit to develop.
Definitely.
And I just want to kind of piggyback off of that for a moment. One of the unique things about this model is that the folks that are coming, that are members of this organization, they're the ones that are responsible for doing all the work. And so it's not like they're coming and they're receiving a package and leaving. They're very much building something right now. And there's a leadership team of members that control what's kind of going on. What we typically do is we have great partners in the community. The food bank's been a partner, and also the Truck Patch. It's another local restaurant. They've given us, I think we've been able to give out like 2,500 pounds of fresh produce that they've given us. And so that's a big thing. But what typically happens is we'll have somebody pick up the distribution from either the food bank or the Truck Patch, and they'll pull it up, and then from that point on, the members organize themselves. They take the food off the truck. They just distribute all of it, and then there's a time for a community gathering. And fans do it differently. I mean, we're housed in a church. The group that has come together here, they made the personal decision that they wanted to have a little time to share and have a little prayer time and do prayer requests. That doesn't have to be the case, though. So this is a model that can be replicated easily. It can be you could have a sorority on a college campus, or you could have Rotary Club of Jonesboro, or you could have any group that's willing to kind of help facilitate the initial meetings and then raise some of the revenue. But it makes a huge impact, because really what you're looking at is for $240 a year, that's kind of what we're averaging to feed one family. you can meet anywhere between a third and a half of their food needs.
Right.
Wow.
And so that allows them to be able to save some money. That allows them to be able to spend on strategic things and know that, this food is going to be there each month. And so that planning is what we've heard that's really been able to benefit a lot of folks.
That is really awesome.
That is.
I'd like for Nate to say a word about requirements. This is not just come and do haphazardly. There are some rules that we try to follow. Dr. Dick Freer, who is a retired social work professor at Arkansas State University, has been a really vital part of this program and set up the way in which we operate so much. And the fact of the matter is, there are certain things expected of people who come, like regular attendance, and it's not haphazard. You may want to comment some more on that, Nate. I think it'd be good.
Well, and Brother Emil's hitting it kind of on the head, is that if you're trying to create an environment where it's a give and take environment, much like a family or a close group of friends, you can't just see each other every 6 months. And so to be able to receive the distribution, you don't have to be there every time, but you need to be able to send somebody to be able to come and participate.
Right.
And I mean, because the goal really is to foster a community environment where people are comfortable and can engage each other and can assist each other. But also too, we didn't want to create an environment, and this is kind of something that was impressed upon us from the national level. If if you just were a member and you could come at any time, then the whole effort kind of gets away from you a little bit. And so you do have to show up. If for some reason you can't make it, we have Charles and Susan Harris, who have been folks from our group that have been at all the meetings. They have you can the members can contact them, and we're not going to say you can't have your food or you can't. I mean, we're going to work with them, but it's just one of those things that tries to create some element of accountability, and that's something the group has appreciated. I mean, again, if things would have changed and we heard that this is not a model that's working, I think our group would have went back and tried to investigate how we could make it better. Again, as Brother Emil was saying, it's this is not a us and them. This is very much a we thing, and they have been very active, and we've actually leaned on some of the folks in the group right now as we're looking at other organizations, trying to work with them to see if they might want to start one themselves. And so we're kind of looking to these folks to be the leaders in the future FANNs that may be started in this area.
Would those be potential branches of FANN?
Their relationship would not be with us, but with the national organization. Is that right?
That's right. And
I was trying to. Is there a website where people can look up the information for the national?
It's Food Security America. That's a national organization.
Food Security for America. Okay.
And Dr. Yarnell, who is a woman ordained Methodist minister, Dr. Yarnell, runs several of these herself personally in Atlanta, and then is chairman or president of the entire thing. She's really she came and led 2 conferences for us when we first started 3 years ago, training sessions. The ones who go into the program, lead the program, have a training session, and then the ones who participate in the program as members also have an orientation time. So they prepare for knowing what they're getting into, and that's very, very vital. By the way, these, Nate mentioned some, and these, there are FANN programs meeting in all kinds of groups, like housing developments and places like this, and just any place, not just, I think churches are the main thing where they meet, but there are all kinds of civic groups that could be sponsoring one of these.
I want to point out, we have like a minute left in this segment, but I want to point out some information that's on the national website. 13.1 million children in the U.S. are growing up in a food insecure family, causing their school performance to suffer. Food Security for America programs counter this by bringing healthy food and supportive relationships so that children thrive. I know we talk a lot about food insecurities, and people are like, what's the big deal? We need to be on a healthier track, not eat so much or whatever. But at the same time, children who don't get enough, it affects their life 360. So we want, if they have what they need, they can do better in schools and move on to be more productive.
How political can I get?
Your opinion is your opinion, but we're going to first have to take a break.
Okay.
So we just have to let people know your opinions are yours and not that of Kaylee K. So, but
That's a
you
safety,
get as political as you want.
Definitely.
That's a safety valve.
So everybody's going to want to come back after the break then, right?
Please. So with that being said, we're going to take a break. Please do not go anywhere. You got to hear what Minister Williams says. And we hope that you're enjoying the conversation. Give us a call at 870-277-1080 or leave us a message on our Facebook live stream, and we'll be happy to address your questions or comments on the air. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
How do you let your teenagers go but still keep them safe? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. Giving teens room to grow while guarding them is a balancing act, but there are some things you simply must know about your teens' friends. First, get to know them. Learn about their friends by having them over to your house. You'll learn a lot through casual conversation. Second, get to know their parents. Introduce yourself to them and try to discern whether they have the same parenting mindset. Third, get to know the details of where your teen and their friends are going, who else will be there, and what they'll be doing. Then, when your teen comes home, be there and be available just in case they want to open up and talk. Remember, your family first.
For more resources on today's topic, go to markmerrill.com. The Family Minute with Mark Merrill, helping families love well.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Danny Ford, owner of Glen Saint Motors in Paragould, strongly believes in the values of family and hard work with a commitment to the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who keep America free, providing sales and servicing of Chevys, GMCs, Buicks, and Cadillacs, located at 6345 Highway 49 in Paragould. 870-565-4358. Details at glensaintparagould.com and at klekfm.org. God bless our troops.
Post Consumer Brands is seeking to hire 5 operators at their Jonesboro facility. Post offers good starting pay, 3 weeks of paid vacation, comprehensive benefits, 401k with employee match, and frontline incentives, while working 4 days on and 4 days off. More information is available at jobs.postconsumerbrands.com. Post Consumer Brands is an equal opportunity employer.
The Epic Center, located at 1899 Hasbrook Road, County Road 333, is Jonesboro's newest venue for entertainment for the entire family. They offer an auditorium with theater-style seating for up to 1,100 guests, a large stage, professional lighting and sound, dressing rooms, concessions, and more. Available for weddings, concerts, pageants, birthday parties, showers, and more. Booking and other information is available at Epic Center Jonesboro on Facebook, epiccenterjonesboro.com, and at 870-530-5841.
KLEK 102.5 FM wants to be active in the community. If you or your organization is hosting a community service event, we would like to know about it and be a part of it. KLEK will promote your event on air, online, and on social media. KLEK personalities may also attend the event and provide music and or entertainment. Certain restrictions and availability may apply. If you or your organization would like to partner with KLEK to make the Jonesboro community a better place, call 870-277-1080 or email us at klek@klekfm.org. In order for a community announcement or church announcement to be aired on KLEK 102.5 FM, we ask that the announcement be sent at minimum 1 week in advance. Thank you for supporting KLEK 102.5 FM.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We're speaking with Minister Emil Williams and Mr. Nate Looney, who's a local attorney, and they're discussing the Magnolia Road Food and Neighbors Network, which is, I don't want to call it a food pantry. It's a membership program that families get to join, and they get to network with each other and share their lives and their stories, and in return they are able to take some food items home that helps to fill in the gap that they may have within each month. As we were talking in the first segment, it's not just going to pick up food and going home. They're actually sitting and networking and getting to know each other as families. So they're building relationships throughout the process. And so now we're going to pick up where we left off. Mr. Emil was wanting to make a comment, and he asked, how political can we get? Like, the floor is yours.
I won't mention any party or an individual.
Okay.
But I will mention this approach that some have indicated or tried to put forth certain programs that have been cut because there is no discernible difference made in the lives of kids as to whether they're fed or not. And this is a ridiculous idea. It has been demonstrated and proven over and over through these years that food insufficiency, nutrition insufficiency, leads to poor performance. And kids are not able to concentrate, stay alert, do their work when they're not fed properly. And so to cut out feeding programs and food sufficiency is an absolute, I'm going to say sin, I'll just say it's a bad move.
Okay.
And we ought to make it available. Yes, and this is the program that we have, by the way. The FANN program does not provide all the food. Did you say 35 to 40%? Is that?
Yeah, somewhere 1/3 to half.
And those who come to this program, some have children, and so the total, we have 13 to 15 families, but the total participants are around 60 when you do the family members, all the family members.
And actually, I'm going to correct you. I just got some information from our treasurer, and our board's all volunteer.
Okay.
But he sent me 70 people now is what...
70 people?
I stand corrected.
Yeah, so, and again, it's for, $240 is kind of what it, on average, takes to feed a family. Wow. Anywhere between a third and half of what they need for a given year. It's pretty amazing, really.
That is really amazing. I wanted to... mention your board. Is it okay to mention your board members?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Nate Looney, who's here. Laura Bean, Mike Mullally,
that's right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Todd Williams, Janice Griffin, Dick Freer, Patricia Walls, which is professor at Arkansas State.
That's right.
David Nunez, Carl Abraham, Steve Rockwell, and Minister Emil Williams. And then there's an administrative team. Zach Bean, Richard Freer, Charles Harris, Susan Harris, and Dr. Richard Wayne. Okay. So we really appreciate all those individuals for coming together and believing in this project and, sharing, giving their input, contributing their knowledge and their skills to this.
I wanted to pick up on, you mentioned Richard Wang. That reminds me that he's involved in the pickup and the hauling, which is really considerable. He goes to Northeast Arkansas Food Bank every 2 weeks with a trailer.
Okay.
And he, and sometimes Zach Bean, sometimes Steve Merriman, but there's a lot of work goes into this, and they pick up huge loads of food. And the little plug was made for Truck Batch a while ago. We really appreciate what they've done. They've just given a lot of food to us, and that's over and above what the EDA Food Bank does.
And I would like to highlight that, most of the food banks are not able or don't give fresh foods, and people need to incorporate fresher whole foods into their daily, diet, just to have a balanced diet. So can you talk about how the families, their comments, their feedback
Sure.
of things they receive.
And just before I do that, though, I do want to take a moment and just kind of distinguish the two approaches. So you have your typical food pantry model that's out there. We see a lot. What we're trying to do here is a little bit different, but we're not saying that you don't need a food pantry, because those are very, very important. They're designed to meet emergency food needs. At the end of the month, if you don't have something, then you can go and pick this up. Where this is a little bit different is it allows people that are going to be in an area for a little while. This is not really for folks that are going to be in and out of Jonesboro, since you have to have a consistent kind of attendance to be able to be here. But it allows them to be able to plan, to have some sense of what's going to be coming in and going out each month. But we need food pantries, and so we have some great ones here. Actually, Community Services Center, we also have a food pantry that we do that basically Brother Emil operates out of the church. That if there's somebody that comes in that's not in our FANN program but needs some assistance, we're able to do that. But yeah, I mean, just like anything else, I saw this morning someone was talking, maybe it was on the Today Show or something, but they're talking about you being, you are what you eat or whatever. And now that I'm over 30 now, I'm beginning to realize that's even more and more true. But
wait till you get further along.
I'm starting to feel it too, Nate. I'm starting to feel it.
A healthy diet, that is something that is important, and we were able to do that because of the partners that we have, and it's not as much as we would like to do. There's just more challenges associated anytime you're dealing with fresh produce, storing it, trying to keep it safe, and but the good thing is there's partners that have been out there that have been willing to work with us, and our leadership team, Brother Emil mentioned this earlier with, Richard Wang and Zach Bean and some of the others. If there's food that needs to be picked up and they see that we have an opportunity at it, they go and get it, and so their efforts, we can't praise them enough for all that they do.
That's wonderful.
If I may say, the work involves the folks who are there, the members.
Okay.
When the food's brought in and it's left in the hall, they put it down and that's it. Then the people who are members pick it up and go distribute it, and we have bins, large big baskets, and they go around and load up all of those baskets themselves. The people who are the members, they do that work. And I just noticed the other day that the age differences from people who had some teenagers there, and then a woman or two that are in their 80s. So we are really very proud of the fact that the age range is very wide, and I think that's good. And it's good for them to sit together and to talk together.
So let's talk more about how someone can become a member. What are some of the requirements?
Sure. So what we've done in the past is usually we've kind of hovered anywhere between 12 and I think 17 was probably our biggest as far as families, right? I could be mistaken. I wish we had Dick Freer here. He would be able to tell us for sure. But anytime that we feel like we go under a point or we're wanting to expand, what we will do is host like an informational meeting. And we'll have people come in and we'll just talk about the program, talk about the kind of the attendance requirements, and I say that loosely, but it is an expectation, and some people can't do it. Sometimes the timing doesn't work. I mean, to be able to do it for us, we're offering it. I believe it meets at 5. Is that correct?
Yes, the pickup's earlier, but the meeting itself starts at 5.
At 5.
And so,
about how long does the meeting? Oh, I don't want to say meeting.
Till about 7.
Till about 7. Now, is someone required to stay there that full 2-hour time frame? Okay.
So how often are your meetings, and are your meetings taking place before and after the distribution of food is given?
So, and I'm going to say this, I've been to one distribution, as we were talking about earlier. We try not, as the board or volunteers, unless we're trying to pitch the program to somebody, we try not to come, because I don't know if you've ever been in an environment and it's a close group, and then all of a sudden you have somebody random coming in, it can
like
kind of
third wheel.
Well, and then people, it kind of it has a chilling effect, I guess, on the group dynamics, and so we didn't want it to have one of these deals where we have people coming in and are observing too much, so that it kills the whole group atmosphere. So we have folks that consistently come that are part of this group, and Brother Emil is one of those folks. Charles and Susan Harris, I think they've made every distribution. I think going back since we launched this in July of 2015, there's only been one distribution that we have not been able to have, and I think that was because there was some sort of weather or something like that.
Okay.
But it's been amazing. I mean, we've this last year alone, there's about 26,000 pounds of food that we were able to distribute. I think there's been over 40,000 since the program began.
And I saw in the newsletter that you sent to the station that in August would be your 1-year anniversary. Well, August 9th?
2 years.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at the wrong. Let me go back and look at the date on here. Okay, so this came out April 2017. Is there a place where people can see your newsletter, or is this only distributed to the members?
We typically actually use that. That was actually developed. Are you guys familiar with Arkansas Gives? It was a program done through the Arkansas Community Foundation, and so that was one of the things we produced to do that. We also we send it to our folks that have been partners with us. We knew before we launched this we wanted to get a certain amount of money in the bank so we could make sure that this program is going to be something that would be viable and that we wouldn't make a progress. Yeah, and we wouldn't make a promise to folks and then not be able to fulfill it. And so we wanted to raise, $4,500 to $5,000, which is not a whole lot of money considering the impact that this has made.
Okay.
We were able to do that, but it was through folks that were really stepping up. And we would have folks that would give $50, $100. $150, or some folks will step up and say, you know what, I want to support one family for $240, and so we have folks that have stepped up and done that.
And just to let people know, when the money you raise, like you said, it goes back into the community in essence to buy the food, because you have to pay a fee with the food bank, even though they're a nonprofit. There's still a fee, like a distribution or some type of fee.
We actually buy the food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so you go to grocery stores as well and buy food, or just just from the food bank?
From the food bank, yes.
Okay, but I just want people to understand that the food bank is not just giving you.
No, we pay for the
You
food.
have to pay because I just know a little bit about how their program works, working for other agencies.
And they've been great. Quite frankly, we wouldn't be able to do this if it was not for the food bank, because it allows us to be able to purchase stuff for pennies on the dollar, and they do a remarkable job. We're really lucky to have them here in Northeast Arkansas.
Yes, sir. They are wonderful. They have a variety of items. So along with the food items, I know this. Are you able to help the families with maybe household needs? Because sometimes there's a gap there when it comes to just tissue, paper towels, and dishwashing liquid or something, or detergent for fabric detergent.
A lot of times,
laundry detergent.
We pick that up from the food bank a lot of times. That's included. Wow. If you mentioning special needs, we try not to indicate that whatever needs you may have. I know beyond that, medical needs, rental needs, repair needs, and so forth. We have to be very careful, and I think you would understand this, that once you start doing that, it's just hard to stop.
Yes.
I mean, and so there have to be some restrictions to say how much can we do, how much can we do at that point. But there have been times when there have been absolute emergencies with people who had a severe emergency medical needs that we have helped with, but we can't do much of that. I would like to say that I think we appreciate so much the truck patch has been mentioned. If there are any groups in the food that supply food, restaurants or grocery stores or whatever, that would like to do, we would appreciate a call, and we would be glad to follow up on it if we could, to see how we could do this. And the truck patch has been the one that's done the most. The other thing, if there are groups listening, or churches, but not just churches, civic groups, housing areas, all kinds of groups that are interested in starting a FANN program, we'd be glad to meet with them and tell them what to do to get started. We'd like to do that.
That's really wonderful. Yes. Okay.
I just noticed that whenever we were speaking about household needs and the improvement of life, that you all mentioned something about training. And how often are your trainings, and what exactly is the objective from that?
And so the training is really more so for our folks that are going to be involved in the process. And so we have Dr. Nancy Arnell. She came in and helped us understand this process. We had a group that went to Little Rock right after they started their first FANN with the Methodist church there, and they got walked through their process. And so it's really more so for the volunteers who are going to be doing the direct one-on-one contact and being part of the group, so that we don't do anything dumb that's going to end up messing up the process.
Totally understand.
But they've been very good resources for us, and we want to be able to do that for other folks. And we've even, as a board, authorized here recently at our last meeting up to a certain amount of money to help provide to other groups out there that may want to start this program. And we've even talked about, too, trying to do some offsetting things that could help that group bring in Dr. Yarnell or someone else from the national organization to help provide some of that initial support. Because some of that, we don't want this to be something that from the front end it's too difficult to do.
Okay.
But if we can help just in a small way, I think that can be the catalyst that some of these groups need to be able to do this. And when you start having, our group out there, it's impacting 60, 70 people, then you have 5 or 6 more of those out in the community. I think we really start seeing lives changed.
And I like the aspect of it says neighbor, and we talk about this a lot when we have different guests on. Your neighbor is not just who lives next door; it's across the street, across town, maybe another county. I would love to see us all become neighbors again, like the community totally embrace every individual in the community, embrace every single person. That's the only way we can grow.
Thank you very much. You just helped promote my sermon for next Sunday. I'm preaching on the Good Samaritan, and everybody will come hear that. I had a couple of new ideas. Sam mentioned he talked about training sessions or meetings. Just this, when we first started, people had ideas of different programs that we could have to present to the people who came.
Okay.
And then we discovered that needs to come from them.
That's right.
They need the things that they ask for or are interested in. And we want to avoid any appearance of imposing things on these people. You need to learn about this, or you need to learn about that. No, that needs to come from them. And so when they have suggested things, we try to follow up on it.
And earlier on, you mentioned the book Toxic Charity. I had an individual mention that book to me. It's on my to pick up list. Would you suggest that every single person that runs a nonprofit organization that's quote unquote charity, and I really, like you said, I hate that word charity, but would you suggest they read that book before they go further in whatever their mission is, whatever service they're providing?
I certainly would. And we had about 12 people to read this book before we started the program.
Okay.
And because the term charity itself has a kind of an onerous sound to it, and we don't like it.
Negative connotation.
Negative charity, some from the one above giving to the one below, and we try to avoid that in every way we can. But I would like to add that there's also this thing of it ought to be widely read. The book Toxic Charity, not just for those who begin something, but those take a good look at what the program is. We mentioned food pantries. Food pantries are good, and they provide for emergency need. And they commented on this, but so many times I've been a part of food pantries. I started one in 1974 at First Baptist Church. That's the care center now, and that became a huge work. But the people who worked at the food pantry developed this. We found them developing this almost inevitably, that we are the ones who have giving to the ones who have not. And that if we're not careful, we get the idea that there's something missing from the lives of the people who come for help. And so we try to avoid that, and I think this FANN program is one of the ways of avoiding. I would like to see us develop the FANN programs all over this part of the country, because I think that deals with that very issue more than anything.
That's right. That is really wonderful. We were talking with some students from Arkansas State University, a student and director who runs the A State United Way, and they talked about the philanthropy aspect and how now more individuals are trying to get more involved with the people that they are helping versus just giving them something. They're now trying to make that deeper connection with those individuals so they can further see what the needs are versus I'm going to give you what I think you need versus let me give you what you really need.
Amen. Hey, and you mentioned Arkansas State.
Yes.
I would be remiss if I didn't thank Arkansas State for their involvement they have had in the Community Services Center. We have a partnership with A-State Cares, and since I've been here, they've been somebody that has done a lot with us, that has helped us be able to reach our mission as far as an organization. Because the FANN is just one program that we have. There's a food pantry that we also operate, but really our goal is to be sort of a conduit for information for folks. If they come in, they have needs. We might not do it ourselves, but our goal is to be able to help link them with folks that can help them get to what they're trying to accomplish, or trying to get their needs met. But A-State Cares has been great to work with. They've actually provided us graduate students, and we have them each semester, so that's important.
All right, so we're going to get ready to take another break, and when we come back from break, we're going to wrap up and give some more information and just go over your mission and purpose so people can understand what you're all about and find out ways that other people can help you with your mission. So please do not go anywhere. You tuned into Community Conversations. We'll be right back after these messages.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Scam artists routinely pose as tax preparers during tax time, luring victims in by promising large federal tax refunds or refunds that people never dreamed they were due in the first place. Scammers prey on people who don't have a filing requirement, such as low-income individuals or the elderly. They also prey on non-English speakers who may or may not have a filing requirement. Their goal is to dupe you into making claims for fictitious rebates, benefits, or tax credits, while charging or even overcharging you for the bad advice. Or worse, they file a false return in your name. You may never know that a refund was ever paid. If you have a filing requirement and are due a refund, scammers get you by promising inflated refunds based on fictitious Social Security benefits and false claims for education credits, the Earned Income Tax Credit, or the American Opportunity Tax Credit, among others. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
Blues Live for 5, Part 2 at Legends Barbecue Smokehouse. Only $5 admission. Saturday, August 19th, 7 o'clock p.m. Featuring from Dallas, Texas, Lerone Powers.
What's the name of that thing? Could only last night.
Lerone Powers.
And is the mother, but don't get caught. You're gonna have to pay the cost.
Performing all of his hits.
Ain't nothing but a party. Jumping like a hole in the wall.
Lerone Powers. Don't miss it. Blues Live for 5 at Legends Barbecue Smokehouse. Saturday, August 19th, 7 o'clock p.m. Only $5 admission. This event is a KLEK fundraiser.
Arkansas Early Learning is accepting applications right now for childcare. We have locations all across Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org. That's arearlylearning.org. Right here in the community at no cost. Arkansas Early Learning offering kids a head start.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We're speaking with Minister Emil Williams and Attorney Nate Looney here discussing the Magnolia Road Family and Neighbors Network Program, which is a program set up to help individuals or families meet or kind of fill in that gap in their food needs for the month. This is a membership program. We've talked about how individuals can become members. Once your group, we didn't talk about, once your group is set, you've selected your members, how long, what is the time frame that they're in the group? Like, how many months, or is it a year, or what is the time frame?
It's really as long as the folks are wanting to participate. There are some income eligibility requirements, and I want to, is it 175% of the poverty line? I can't remember where that is. But
we need Dick Freer.
Yeah, Dick is the numbers guru, but and we don't check paperwork or things like that. It's basically we just ask them, and it's on it's basically just on what they say whether or not they're eligible. But the goal is again to create an environment where people are able to have the things they need to be able to fill in the gaps and close those gaps. But hopefully they kind of work themselves out of the group and they say, well, I don't really need to be here anymore. I want to be part of the family still, but I don't necessarily need it for the food aspect of it. And we've had some folks do that. But there's not a time period that says, okay, you're in for a year, then you're out on your own.
And within the group, since it is a networking group, do they discuss, okay, first of all, assess the need, why is there a gap? Maybe there's an income issue. Okay, do they discuss ways to better their income, obtain a higher paying job or extra work? Or do they address, as a group, do they address those issues to help a person move to another level in their income?
No.
Okay.
That's a gap, and it probably should be filled. But again, back to the philosophy which we have, that is, we've tried to follow the principle that if you feel the need to talk about this and get this help, we will try to provide it.
Okay.
Now, the ASU Care program there, they do needs assessments of people who come in, and and we try to go through that channel.
Okay.
And that needs to be increased, by the way. It's not very many people access that and do that. And we don't want to give the impression that to any of them, we're here to teach you all to do better. I mean, that's people resent that.
Yes, sir.
And we want to say, and we've tried to follow the principle of as you request or ask for or suggest, we try to follow up on that.
Okay. Well, I really hope that people are taking advantage of what you do have to offer, and I hope that they are truly enjoying the relationships they're building with the other families within the group. Like Micah mentioned earlier, they're sharing their life experiences and they're learning from each other.
Well, there's one thing that I've been there more than half the time for the meetings, and they really enjoy the meetings.
Okay.
It is a time of genuine joy.
Okay.
And as they talk about their needs and share with each other their life experiences. And we have a number of older people who have been able to give wisdom and direction and some suggestions to others, and so it's been good at that point. But there has been a sense of genuine, they're just not morose. It's really a time of joy, and it's
So do they keep in communication outside of the group with each other?
Yes.
Okay.
There are individuals who do that.
Okay.
And I've overworked it, I know, but it's all about human relations. It's about relations. It's about human beings getting to know other human beings.
You can never discuss that enough. I'm learning about a term called alienation in one of my courses, and we've gotten to a point in the society where people have been alienated through work, through whatever other avenue. We're just individuals within a system moving around each other instead of working together, getting to know each other, and building together. So I would love to see us, not just Jonesboro, every community, come back together.
Definitely. I think that we're our greatest resource, just to add to what you're saying, just because there's so many of us that make so many decisions about each other, that if we just kind of made those decisions together, it would make it a little bit easier.
Yes, like he said, the people on top giving to the people below, they're making a decision based on what they think someone needs.
Well, that's the whole philosophy that we've tried to proceed on, and we forget it every once in a while. We forget it. We start out trying to tell people what they need, and then they grow quiet. We find out that they don't want to talk about that so much, but it needs to come from them. How can we help? You need to tell us how we can help, and if there are ways that we need to do. And quite frankly, we talk about community and neighbors and so forth. We do not know each other very well. We really don't. And this is a small area in which we can get to do this. That's the reason my main word today is I'd like to encourage other groups of every kind to look into the possibility of doing one of these.
All right, the challenge has been put out there. So to everyone out there listening, get your groups together, get your people together, and start working on a strategic plan to implement one of these programs in your neighborhood somewhere. And there could be more than one in a neighborhood. Like Magnolia Road is essentially on the north side of town, but the north side is so big, there could be one somewhere else.
Oh, yes.
So
maybe that'd be a good thing for NJ and I to discuss.
Okay. Well, Amanda, bring that up. And if you could please put a plug into ASA Cares. I've been trying to reach somebody to come on and talk about that program. We would love to highlight their program as well.
Dr. Pat Walls is on our board.
Okay.
She was co-chair of the social work department.
Okay.
I think she would be glad to do that.
And Dr. Taylor, she's been to some of our meetings as well, and she does a fantastic job. So we're lucky to have them as partners.
All right. So we got about 2.5 minutes left. Would you like to give any final thoughts or shout out to any other volunteers with the program?
I would like to make one final plug, and he might get on to me in the car riding home if I don't ask people for money, because it is something that we need. We don't harass a lot of folks, but we have been very fortunate to have donors that have stepped up when we've asked them to. And so if you're out there listening right now and you have a few extra bucks that you want to direct to a program that's really making an impact, we would certainly put those dollars to good use, and we would certainly benefit from that gift. The other thing is that if you're out there listening right now and this is something that you might be interested in, I hope that you'll reach out and contact us, because again, this is an effort that I think is changing lives, and not just from a standpoint of you're helping people meet their food insecurity issues and overcome those, but from a personal level. And we would love to have you as part of the group and sharing your sharing what you have to offer and to get to know you.
For those that are listening, can we have that website and that telephone number if possible again?
Sure. And I can just give you my cell phone number too. That'll be the easiest way to do it. It's 870-930-7294. 930-7294.
All right, that'd be 870-930-7294.
And Nate can put you in touch with whoever you need to. I would like to say that too, the income from this is, we always need that. And not just individuals, but churches and clubs and civic organizations that need a project. This is something good to direct their funds toward.
All right. Well, we thank you all so very much for joining us today. And I know the families are truly blessed by the services that you provide for them, or create this avenue for them to get to know each other, get together, fellowship, and receive the items that they need. We thank you, everyone out there listening who tuned into our show today and who joined us on our live stream, even though no one wanted to join the conversation. So thank you. Tune in tomorrow and have a very blessed day, and stay hydrated, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issue.